Greetings, true champions of the cause. Welcome to Starplanet Beyond the Canon, where we showcase incredible literary works inspired by your favorite franchises. In today's episode, we dive into a fan-made tale set in the iconic world of Tron, Walt Disney Productions' groundbreaking 1982 science fiction action-adventure film, written and directed by Steven Lisberger, with a story by Lisberger and Bonnie McBird. Today's feature is Tron, The Birth of Rinzler, a captivating work written by Keone Snow and published on October 30th, 2017. Now, dear travelers, let's begin. The last thing Tron remembered was a flash of searing light, then a crushing wave of darkness. He couldn't tell how long it had been since he'd last seen Flynn. His body ached as he forced his eyes open. The room was dim, and his vision blurred. In front of him, a figure with glowing yellow lines stood hunched over a console, working intently. Tron could only see his back, but he could tell the figure was configuring an interface link. Beyond a transparent barrier, a black guard stood silently on watch, its posture rigid and menacing. To the right, another program hovered near a control panel, occasionally glancing over at the man in yellow. His voice broke the quiet, filled with genuine concern. "Clue, are you certain the interface is necessary? Mishandling it could corrupt your code." So this is Clue, Tron thought, straining against his bonds. The effort made a slight noise, enough to catch their attention. Clue turned, his face illuminated by the soft glow of his circuitry. "Relax," Clue said with a grin, stepping closer. "Those restraints were designed just for you, my friend. But soon, they won't be needed." Clue held an interface connector in his hands, inspecting it for the final adjustments. "Are you ready, Jarvis?" The program at the panel nodded and tapped a few keys. "Remember," Clue continued, "we must stay connected the entire time. It's the only way to ensure everything goes smoothly." He attached one end of the cable to himself, the other to a device placed firmly on Tron's chest. With an eerie precision, Clue took Tron's identity disk and held it before him, the room darkening as lights flickered and dimmed. The code within the disk pulsed and shifted in Clue's hands, each line revealing the essence of the security program. Tron's entire being was laid bare. Clue scanned through the data, making minor changes as he went, closely observing the feedback. Tron felt nothing at first, just a vague pressure, but he knew what was happening. His system alarms began to trigger, one by one, as Clue made deeper adjustments. He tried to resist, but every movement felt like dragging himself through quicksand. Clue, absorbed by his work, stood tall, his hands manipulating the code as though it were clay. His focus never wavered, and Tron, helpless, could only watch. A sense of dread washed over him. Clue believed himself a creator, a being greater than the users. In Clue's mind, he was perfecting Tron. Jarvis, at his station, began to tremble under the weight of the data pouring in. "We've already surpassed safe parameters," he muttered, glancing nervously at Clue. "That will do for now." Clue disconnected from the interface, moving behind Tron to prepare the final stage. "Give him a 15% energy boost and prepare for synchronization." "But the reboot subroutine isn't active," Jarvis protested. "We'll monitor the changes in real time," Clue snapped, irritated. "Rebooting would obscure the process." Jarvis bit his lip, returning to his controls. A soft beep echoed as the disk synchronization began. Clue attached the disk to Tron's back, watching intently as the process unfolded. Where was Flynn? Tron's thoughts flickered with desperation. Had he escaped? If only I could reach Alan 1. Flynn and Alan could fix this. He tugged weakly at his restraints, Clue had claimed they were built specifically for him. If that was true, maybe he had a chance, though his energy was too depleted for any real escape. With each passing second, Tron's code was further altered, Clue's changes triggering more alarms. He could feel his identity slipping away, bit by bit. His subroutines fired off warnings, but his body refused to obey his commands. A new idea sparked in his mind. Could he use the interface link to reverse the process? But just as quickly as the thought formed, he realized the device on his chest prevented any such action. Clue continued, now completely engrossed in reshaping the program he once called his friend. "It's almost done," he muttered to himself, his eyes narrowing. "Jarvis, prepare for the final directive." Jarvis swallowed, nodding as he keyed in the final command. Red letters blinked ominously above Tron's disk. "All users are the enemies. Protect Clue at all costs." Clue's lips curved in satisfaction as he stepped back, unaware that the interface link still remained active between them. Jarvis watched with concern, eyes flicking between the data stream and the programs in front of him. Suddenly, Clue faltered. His knees buckled, and he collapsed to the floor, clutching his head as feedback from the interface overwhelmed him. Jarvis quickly severed the connection, and the room fell into a tense silence. Clue slumped against the wall, breathless, his vision blurring. He glanced at the altered program lying motionless before him, no longer Tron, but something different, something darker. His energy lines had shifted from blue to a deep, pulsing red. The process was complete. "I am sorry," Clue whispered, his voice breaking. "I never wanted this, but it was necessary." For the first time, Clue seemed unsure. He approached the newly reprogrammed figure and gently touched his face. There was no response. "Release him," Clue ordered, his voice firm despite the emotion behind it. Jarvis hesitated. "But Rinzler won't harm me." "Release him." As the restraints released, the figure crumpled to the ground. Clue caught him, lowering him gently onto the floor. He turned to Jarvis, his expression unreadable. "Leave us. I will handle it from here." Jarvis gave a curt nod and silently left the room, the black guard following close behind. Left alone, Clue knelt beside the fallen program, the weight of his actions pressing down on him. He had succeeded, but the victory felt hollow. As he gazed down at the lifeless figure, a tear slipped down his cheek. "If I had known," he murmured. "And with that, let's take a break. We will be back after these messages. You are watching Starplanet, Beyond the Canon.
The universe is a grand place, full of uncertainty. But the one thing you can be sure on is the greatest pizzas can always be found at Pistol Star Pizza, with over 500 trillion outlets throughout the universe. One thing is for sure, you'll never go hungry at Pistol Star Pizza. Pistol Star Pizza. At Pistol Star Pizza.
Greetings, true champions of the cause. We hope you're enjoying your stay here on Starplanet. Please allow me to take this opportunity to introduce you to Starplanet Music, a continuously expanding portfolio of musical works that spans an impressive array of genres. Starplanet Music, the future of the underground. Visit starplanetmusic.com today.
In the boundless reaches of space, darkness reigns. Pirates and aliens rule unchecked, ransacking colonies and preying on the innocent. The Galactic Federation's power crumbles, leaving entire star systems at the mercy of ruthless outlaws. But amidst this chaos, one vigilante rises to defend the helpless and bring justice to the lawless. They call him Space Ghost.
The new beef superior is here, only at Starry's. Wherever you are in the universe, there's always one place that feels like home. Starry's, eat in or eat out, but always eat the best.
Welcome back. Let's continue. The first thing he felt was the cold, hard surface beneath him. A gentle hum came from his left, the steady sound of an energy conduit, pulsing with life. His mind latched onto the sound as familiar. Slowly, he opened his eyes, greeted by the soft glow of a luminous ceiling. It took time for his vision to adjust, the room around him gradually coming into focus. Rinzler turned his head, first left, then right. In the corner of his eye, he saw another program leaning against the wall, either lost in thought or perhaps in a rest cycle. Struggling to rise, Rinzler's muscles trembled with effort, each movement draining what little energy he had. His legs gave way, and just as he was about to collapse, the other program was by his side, catching him with surprising strength. "Easy, big fella. One step at a time." The voice was calm, almost soothing. As soon as they made contact, Rinzler felt a surge of energy flood into him. The other program was diverting power from his own system to keep him standing. "Who am I?" Rinzler's voice was rough, broken, as if his speech routine was damaged beyond repair. "You'll get your answers soon enough, but first you need to rest. You've been through a lot." Clue, the program in yellow, guided him with careful precision toward a nearby healing station. "Come on, step inside. You'll feel much better after this." With practiced ease, Clue adjusted the controls of the healing chamber, his eyes flicking over every detail to ensure the process would run smoothly. Satisfied, he turned away, leaving Rinzler alone to recover while he prepared the next steps for his new enforcer. Cycles passed, and Rinzler's recovery was slow. Most days he rested, too weak to do much more than walk a few steps. The only presence he encountered was Clue, who visited regularly, observing his progress. Rinzler could feel strength returning to him, but his mind was clouded, memories lost in fragments, like pieces of shattered glass. Today, he was ready for answers. As if on cue, Clue entered the room, a pleased smile on his face. "How are you feeling today, my friend?" Rinzler stayed silent, his voice still a source of discomfort. The sound of it grated against his senses, so he simply looked at Clue, his unreadable gaze enough for the yellow line program to continue. "I know. You want answers," Clue said, stepping forward. "I think it's safe to tell you now. Come, sit down. Ask whatever you need, and I'll explain." Rinzler sat, Tension coiled in his body like a spring. What happened to me? Clue took a deep breath, the gravity of his next words evident. You were damaged in a disk battle. Your memory files were corrupted, along with much of your core code. We nearly lost you. It took 50 millicycles to repair the damage, to rebuild what had been broken. It was painful, but you made it through. Rinzler processed the information slowly, but the gaps in his memory remained vast, unfilled. What is my purpose? You are the finest program in the grid, Clue said, his voice steady. You are my enforcer, my primary security. More than that, you are my friend. Together, we will bring the grid to perfection. Clue's hand rested on Rinzler's shoulder, a gesture of reassurance. Come, there's something I want to show you. He led Rinzler to a large, circular chamber. The walls hummed with energy, the space dominated by a Disc Wars simulator. You can practice here whenever you like. Once you're ready, we'll move to the light cycle arena. A nearby guard stepped forward, offering Rinzler a glowing cube. This will provide you with the basics, information on the grid, the programs, and the vehicles you need to know. Rinzler took the cube without a word. Clue smiled, turning to leave. There's much to do, but you can always call on me. Just tell the guard. Left alone, Rinzler retreated to his quarters, where he dimmed the lights and expanded the cube with a flick of his hand. Diagrams unfolded before him, detailing the intricate workings of the grid, its structures, the roles of programs, and the many vehicles that roamed its highways. He studied them quietly, lost in thought. Later, after a grueling session in the Disc Wars simulator, Rinzler lay in the dark, his breath coming in sharp gasps. His body ached, but it was his mind that was most troubled. Dreams had plagued him. Vivid, haunting dreams. He saw himself in a room with Clue and another program, helpless as they did something unspeakable to him. Then the scene shifted. He was in battle, defending someone against 4 elite guards. He fought fiercely, his skill unmatched, his movements lethal. But then a voice echoed in the chaos. You've been corrupted. He turned to see Clue marching toward a fallen figure. Flynn. He was trying to protect Flynn. Go! Rinzler had shouted in his dream. Then everything went black. Rinzler awoke with a start, his pulse racing. He rose from his bed and fell to his knees, the weight of the nightmare still heavy on his mind. Something was wrong, something deeper than the loss of his memories. He thought to ask Clue about it, but instinctively knew that might not be wise. Pulling himself together, Rinzler gripped his identity disc and made his way back to the simulator. The room lit up as he entered, his fingers flying over the control panel as he set the parameters. Enemy type, elite guard. Number of enemies, 4. Skill level, maximum. A message flashed. Simulation loaded. Enter when ready. Nearly 1,000 cycles had passed since Rinzler's rebirth, and the grid was under complete control of Clue. Rinzler, now feared throughout the system, had become the ultimate warrior in the game grid. No one survived his battles. No one dared to challenge him. He was the enforcer, the weapon, the terror that patrolled the streets of the grid. His mere presence struck fear into any who opposed Clue. But one question still gnawed at Clue's mind. Where was Flynn? Why had he vanished so suddenly? In his relentless pursuit of perfection, Clue discovered an outdated I/O port being monitored by a lone program. Embedded in its code was the key to reopening the portal. Flynn's escape from the grid had left a trail, and Clue devised a plan to bring him back. The master key to the system was Flynn's disk, and Clue would stop at nothing to get it. Outside, A long-abandoned arcade flickered to life with a sharp beep, and in the real world, Alan Bradley stirred awake. A message from Flynn's arcade, a place that had been silent for so many years, called him back. Clue watched, knowing it was only a matter of time before someone, perhaps even Bradley, would step through the portal, drawing Flynn back into the grid. When that happened, he would have his chance. The disc would be his, and the programs would finally be free to leave the digital realm. And one day, the portal lit up, and a user stepped into the grid, and with that, true champions of the cause. Our story, unfortunately, has come to a close. I know this one was a bit shorter than usual, but that's because it serves as a prequel to a larger narrative by Keone Snow called Tron, Ascension. This expansive story picks up after the events of the 2010 film Tron, Legacy, directed by Joseph Kosinski, and based on the screenplay by Adam Horowitz and Edward Kitsis. Next time on Beyond the Canon, we'll dive deeper into Keone Snow's vision for Tron 3 Ascension. Stay tuned for an exciting journey into the grid. I thank you for spending this time with us, and I look forward to seeing you again. Please let your thoughts be known in the comments. I truly look forward to reading them. So, until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe. Go visit enterstarplanet.com for more. And until our paths meet again, I have been your host, Arius Valo. See you in the shadows, my love.